Good morning, everyone. I found that on somebody's Facebook today and I thought, oh my gosh, is that the truth? Fabric growing on trees. Okay, so I would say right now I need threads growing on trees because I'm just obsessed, right? I well let me show you this. I got some things to show you before we get to Sisters this year, which was a complete wonderful experience inside and out. Okay. So, anyways, Ruth Ohol, who is a friend of mine that introduced us to, and her cat Sophie and my cat are cousins. And though they've never met and probably never will, and we'll probably keep it that way. But she sent me a picture of her latest quilt. How about that, people? How about that? She actually, for the outside border, that's a Japanese print that she bought. Oh gosh, she said like 20 years ago or something, and she rediscovered it. That happened to me once where I rediscovered a fabric that I purchased way before. And then when forgot about it, lost it, forgot about it, whatever, and found it, it was like, oh, double the hit. You know how you get the hit in the store? Yeah, double the hit. So let me show you what I've been working on. All right, before we get going too much. And again, we are going to do the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show. I What am I doing here? I have been kind of stuck, and so I this is totally against my religion. I ordered Sue Spargo's book and kit, and it's the smartest thing I ever did because as we go along in the book, I'm challenged to do new stitches. And so I'm learning a lot, and I find such great pleasure of just sitting down and stitching my heart away. So, this was the first one I did, and I still need another bumblebee up here. I need to do a bushy tail, and you need a certain tool for that, of which Sue sells them, but she was at Sisters, okay? And I said, "Oh, I need to come buy it." And she said, "No, no, no, I'll just give you mine." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Yeah, okay, so I can do the bushy tail now. But that said, went into her classroom and spent hundreds of dollars on threads. That might be the smartest upsell she's ever gotten. All these hands, I don't even open it yet. Sorry. And just joy. Oh, joy. And then now I've also started working on this one. Here we go. Here we go. Right? I'm doing I had to relearn that. I love Mr. Worm. I learned the picot stitch. Um, and I'm these this is like a back stitch with just it being wrapped around. I'm just my creative bug is being scratched really, really, really um big time. Okay, so Susan says, Ari wishes, I want to sew the dashed lines in the grass area in the ground and the background. What thread do you use? It doesn't show up in the picture. Uh oh, it's right here. Let's talk about that. Well, this is the chain stitch. Now, there's other lines in there, though they're the quilting lines, and I had Kristen differentiate them. They look a little bit different. Okay, so that's how you differentiate them. All right. All right. So back to the face, back to this weekend. Think about what you were doing 50 years ago. Just think about maybe you weren't even born, but Sisters was celebrating its 50th anniversary. All right, 5 decades of quilting in America. This is an absolutely delicious book that Jean has put together. That's a read, and every single page is it's just candy for the eyes. I had a premiere copy, or now preview copy is what they call it, from C&T, and I started looking at it, and about 3 pages in, I go, or 4, it was stop. I wanted the book. I wanted the experience of opening that book and enjoying it. And I'm so glad I did because it is beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. But let's think about it. 50 years ago, there was this TV show that was started that honestly people didn't know if it would last a season. But guess what? It has stood the test of time. Saturday Night Live, 50 years ago. Okay. Oh, here's another good thing that happened 50 years ago. Bill Gates made the first home computer, the Altair 880 computer, 50 years ago. Did I say it wrong? Oh, Bill Gates started the software. I know I'm in trouble when John comes running out of his office. Okay, here's another one. Here's another one. How many of you had this? Mood rings. I think I just snorted. I'm sorry. I think some of those are still around, but here's the one that'll kill you right here. 50 years ago. Pet rocks. Oh gosh. So then here also 50 years ago, scaring a generation of people, never wanting to go in the ocean again, ever, ever. Oh, here's another 50 years ago, Gene Wells. Just love this. I love this. So so I was invited to come up to have a special exhibit, and also I did the Friday night thing where I interviewed Val and Jean, and that it was so much fun. I can't begin to tell you. So we took off. It's about a 9-hour drive. It's a long drive up there, but I had all my quilts I had to bring up. And the first thing we stopped in Weed, California, Starbucks. Oh my God. I'm gonna tell you what I did, and it's so embarrassing and so stupid. So I got a refresher, all right, one of those drinks, and a red refresher. I don't know, strawberry, I don't know what it is. And John got a chai latte, and I ordered it all. Well, so I'm waiting for John, and oh, there's the pink drink, and I pick it up and I start drinking out of it. It's not mine. I think it was Ray's. But then worse than that, I ordered John a latte. So they couldn't get me out of that store fast enough. Fortunately, on the way back, they didn't remember me. I even said something to the kid, and he looked at me like I was crazy. Well, I am crazy. So, it is so beautiful when you drive up there. You go Shasta, there's the Three Sisters, and there's snow on it, but somehow it still gets 100 degrees down where you're at, all right? You know? So it is so beautiful, so majestic, absolutely beautiful. And Sisters itself is an adorable, adorable town. And what Jean has built there in 50 years is amazing. Now, you have to know that it takes a lot of people to get this show up and down. So the first thing that happens is you get your quilts to them before, and they have them in, well, you can see like group 10, 11, 12, 13. And then what happens is it tells you exactly where this is going to go. All right. So they put it up, and then at 4 o'clock it all comes down. Only one time has it rained, and it started raining like at about 3 in the afternoon. And by then it's starting to die down anyways. And if that happens, then the store that it's on is responsible for taking it in. All right. And I'll bet, and did you know that the first quilt show was a matter of hanging 12 quilts over the banister of the store that they're no longer in? They're in a really snazzy store now. And it was a backdrop to a friend of hers who did pottery and crafts and things like that. The store is magnificent. It's one of my favorite stores to go in. There we go. Sorry about that guy there. I should have whited him out. Um, her daughter Valerie is kind of start is steering the ship now. Jean is definitely involved as like I think the board of director president or whatever, and even with the store, but it is generationally being process so that we will be able to enjoy this store way after I'm gone, that's for sure. So Friday night was the celebration of um, the 50th birthday party. What I don't even know what, but I was to interview Val and Jean on stage. And well, let's put it this way. I wore a gold sequin dress because of course you do for a 50th. Of course you do. And it was so much fun. I had a lot of prepared questions of which she knew, and then there were some that they didn't know. And and Valerie almost came off the chair. Everybody's talking about how, Jean affected them professionally, and honestly, I wouldn't have, written my first book without Jean, okay? I wouldn't have, 'cause I was teaching up there, and she said, "You got a book there," and she guided me through it. Had she not said it, I probably would have never done it. But I said, I said, I lost me. The most important thing I ever learned from Gene Wells was this. I said to Gene, I said, you know, when I was teaching here, I was so envious of everybody being able to be on the road teaching and doing their thing professionally, nationally. And I said, I can't wait because the kids are almost gonna be in high school, and then I'm free. And she looks at me. I just spit, excuse me, and she said, "Not unless you wanna be a grandma." Yeah, Valerie just like, "What?" And then at the end of the program, they had an auction. The teachers that were there, a lot of them, gave up a quilt for the monies to be auctioned to go to the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show because it is a nonprofit. And you think about it, they've got to have extra police, they've got to have potties, they've got to have permits. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This costs money. They even have now a director, Don, who runs it. So it costs money. Anyways, the auction was really fun. People got super raucous like crazy. I mean, it was getting out of control, giant auditorium. And I was so excited because Leslie Jennison bought mine. So I don't, and then Ricky said, let me see a picture of it. And I go, oh my gosh, I don't have a picture of it. So I got hold of Leslie. I said, oh, please, please send me a picture of this. And you can see my sparkle dress underneath it. Okay, so the first thing that happens, no, no, let me back up. So that night, Dawn is kind of giving everybody the lay of the land, and there were tons of new people there, tons of people from across the United States. I mean, I think the attendance was up. Now, I don't go every year, so that's just, a swat with a fly swatter, but I'm pretty sure. And Dawn said, okay, the firemen arrive at 7 o'clock, and somebody said something like, well, who cares? And everybody's like yelling at her, it's the firemen. Are you kidding me? So this is how they bring their fire trucks. They bring their ladders and they start putting quilts up. Now, this is the side of the stitch and post, and all the quilts that are on the side are employees of Jean's and Valerie's. I'm sorry. It's so weird. So here's everybody watching. It's really, 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 really fun to see that. And everybody wants their picture taken. They're sure. My daughter said to me, okay, first of all, why are they always so good looking? Okay, I shouldn't be talking like this, but why? My daughter, after she was married, said, I was such an idiot. I was a school teacher. I should have pulled the fire alarm and just see who walked through the door and get a date. Okay, so now they're putting them up. There's a team assigned to each group of bags to each store. And the amount of clothespins they use, you could probably build an ark with. Here is the Mount Bachelor Guild. They had a special exhibit on a building and they're getting it all up there. And yes, your quilts are exposed to the elements. Who cares? It's I call it kind of like a Woodstock. It's a happening. It's quilts by the people for the people. So as I mentioned, I had a special exhibit. They put me in an area where I mean, guys, it got really, really hot, all right? But I could it was kind of a U-shaped and there were trees on top. And so I could move from spot to spot as the sun came. And I have to tell you, when I chose the quilts, it was pretty oh, whoops, I'm sorry. It was pretty okay, this, and this, and this. And then when I dropped them off, I thought, oh, geez, I hope this looks good together. It did. And probably a lot of you recognize the Cape Fast mystery quilt that we did during the start of the pandemic, second from the right. And what was so cool was that people were just so happy and so what it was the best. And probably the very best compliment I got. Okay, there's a lot of non-quilters there, so they don't know me from Santa Claus, okay? Probably my favorite compliment was a man said, "Did you do all of these? They're so different." And I go, "Thank you. Thank you." That I said, "That's the best compliment." And then, Ricky is, mentoring, Nick, and Nick and his wife showed up I'm sorry, I'm brain with their baby, and I got to hold a baby. Oh, that baby is so cute and so smiley and so happy, and I'm surprised she's not smiling there because she doesn't know how to do anything else but smile. Oh, and then that thing around my neck, you guys, those are those cooling wieners that I talk about. A lady came up and said she had this one on her neck, and I said, "Oh, I should have brought mine. What was I thinking?" She took it off her neck and she said, "Here, take mine." I go, "I can't take your cooling wiener." And she said, "No, I've got about 5 in the car and I am handing them out." So thank you, whoever you were, thank you. It saved me and it saved John in golf yesterday. Okay, so of course, Jean celebrating her 50th year had a special exhibit. I didn't even get down to it. So I'm dependent on other people getting me these images because I was in my area. Um, and her work, it was her work spanning 50 years. And I just think Jean's work is remarkable, just remarkable. Oh, this also happens the second Saturday of July. Yeah. Actually, that is a quilt of her front door that an artist carved for her in her house. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now, this is an older piece of hers, but it's lovely. Her sensibility carries through all the way. She has been very um influencing on me. The quilt that I did that Leslie got, I bought all those silks at the Stitch and Post when I was there another time, and I used the technique that Jean taught me. So that quilt was very, very special. Again, I'm so glad Leslie got it. Oh, geez, Louise. See, now there's an old, 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 old piece. And she said that her oldest piece actually was hanging there, and it was something like for her first baby quilt or something like that. Again, I didn't get over that. Get over there. Then there were okay, it was my special exhibit, her special exhibit. There was a Quilt Con special exhibit and a Sakwa one. John couldn't find the Sakwa one. So here's Quilt Con. Be happy, don't worry. Here's another one. There are about 1,000 quilts. And the stores are all in on it and the whole bit. They shut off not Main Street. They used to shut off Main Street, but that cost too much money. So now they cut off the street next to it, and it's just everywhere. I mean, you go into a store and there's just it's everywhere. It's Woodstock, people. And look at this. Look at this. Anybody recognize this? I sure do. And I don't have the name of the maker. I am sorry. It is a Sarah Filkey's BOM. And I don't know if it was last year or the year before we did that. Okay. Oh, thank you, Anne. Okay, let me. And then you go around town, okay? Everywhere, everywhere there are quilts. And remember, these quilts were assigned this store in those plastic bags. Quilts by the people, for the people. Now, if you're gonna go, I would say you go in the morning because again, it wasn't 100 degrees, it was just 95. But then the breeze came up and that's what saved everybody's rear. Look at that. Ah, color, color. And I was talking to Jean, and I don't know, but I think this might have been one of the first, well, it was the first outdoor quilt show, but it was among one of the first quilt shows, period. Okay, then a takedown. What happens is the same team comes back. They gather the quilts, they put them in the plastic bags, and they take them back to headquarters. And then you go to the headquarters to get your quilts, and then they check you off of a list, like a spreadsheet. So they want to make sure everybody goes home with what they came with. But it's a one-day quilt show. One. There were some people near the end going, "Well, it'll be up again tomorrow, won't it?" And I'm like, "No." But the next day, they had Karen Stone do an outside exhibit at Five Pines as a walk around. Look at that. That is the resort to stay at, Five Pines. When I go and take classes there from whomever Jean might be bringing in, like 5-day workshops, not during quilt show, John and I like to stay at Five Pines. But I'm sad because there was a restaurant there. It's still there, but they used to make a beer, and I'm not a beer drinker. Oh, it was so good. And they no longer brew that. Had a little chocolate hint to it. No, can we say Karen's afraid of color? No, no. Let's see. Look at that. It's so lovely. I mean, her work is so lovely. Boy, she's someone who has certainly morphed and changed during the years. I want to give you, we are not selling this book, okay, people? We are not selling this book, but if you're interested in knowing more about it, as I said, this is just a gift to eyes. Okay, let me see. The forward is by Tula Pink, which is super fun. But let me just do some flipping. Oh, the fireman. Oh, this was a year I was there where they had some giant crane and we all had a position. You could see the people and we flipped it over and made a quilt that was aerial. Look at all the people. Now that year it was freezing cold, freezing. And then every year in the past, Dennis McGregor made quilt show posters, but now Kathy Deggendorfer does it. I wonder if they have this year's here. And, I mean, oh, and then the other thing, Valerie, her daughter, Jean's daughter, really is a photographer. I mean, she's a quilter too. But in this book, a lot of these are her daughter took the pictures. So how neato is that? Right. So that's my little show and tell of this year's Sisters 50th, of which I was beyond honored to be a part of. And I just want to tell you a little bit about Dee. Oh, right, next week. I think next week on this thing, I want to talk about working with metallics. Okay. My daughter just tried to call me and she said, "Tell everybody hi." I hung up on her. And we'll just do some little finishing things. And then to tell you the truth, I'm scared to death to get to this because I don't remember how I did it, but I'll tell you how I think I approached it. How professional I am. Okay. Susan said it was 105 when she was there. Okay, so Dee will not be here this Saturday because once a year, Dee hosts a retreat in San Juan Batista. San Juan Batista, I would say, is about 30 miles outside of Monterey. It's an old monastery or mission, and she teaches in the area where the either the nun slept or the father slept, I don't know, but it's just absolutely beautiful. And Kristen was going to be going too. She's been going there forever. Look, take a look, see at this classroom. Ah, so Dee has hardcore followers because they go there and have a wonderful, wonderful time, and she can help you with stuff. You mean you obviously, if you follow her on Saturday, you know how talented and versed is. I think she's been quilting since she was in the womb. And she also teaches a couple times a year in Michigan because for a while she lived there. She has, I think, Ann Arbor, but I'm not sure. That's where she lived. All right. And I don't know where the retreat is. If you're interested, oh, at the end of this September, there's going to be one in Michigan. If you're interested to learn more about this, because she doesn't really have a website or anything like that, you can email me and I will forward you to Dee, and then she can get you the information that you want. So if you want to email me, it's alexandrsn@gmail.com. Also, I've been sending out some Bernina coupons. If you're going to buy a Bernina over $1,000, a new Bernina, get hold of me before you go. I will mail you, so I have to have your address. I will mail you like a postcard, kind of like this, and then you mail it in within 30 days to Corporate Bernina in the United States, and they will send you $100 check that you can spend any way you want. It could be a partial plane ticket to Sisters next year. But this isn't a thing with the dealer. This is a thing with me and Bernina USA. Again, I need your snail mail. alexandrsn@gmail. Oh, thank you. Somebody just put it up there. Thank you. So, thanks so much for joining today. I see we have a lot of people, and it's fun. It's a bucket list thing. It's Woodstock. It's a happening. It's a scene. It's quilts by the people for the people, and then there might be a special exhibit or two. I had a freaking ball. Yep. Have a great rest of the week. I'll see you Monday. Stay out of trouble. Yeah, I don't care. Get in trouble. I don't care. Just don't call me for bail money. Okay. Thank you for watching. You have a choice how to spend your time. I appreciate it.